Hey, what's going on? Hey, I decided to record the intro to today's class. I may start doing it a little more just because, if somebody's not in class, they can go ahead and rewatch this. Or if you want to rewind something, you can do that too, in case you didn't understand or whatever. So, and I'll still be here for um, questions. You can just put them right in the chat. I'll be there. I'll probably just play this while you're all in class. I don't know, but if you want to rewind it, maybe I'll just be in class, and then once you watch it, you can ask questions or whatever. So today, April 9th, CNN10, pretty interesting one, I think, at the beginning here, because they're going to talk about this thing called vaccine passport. So President Biden has already come out and said, "No, this is a bad thing. Like this is un-American. We can't have people being forced to be vaccinated." And then we have some states like New York that are requiring it, but then other states like Florida, which are prohibiting it. So the governor of New York, Governor Cuomo, said, "Yeah, we're doing this thing." And then Ron DeSantis of Florida, he's the governor down there. He said, "No, we're not going to do that. We can't force people to show a vaccination card." And they'll talk about it in CNN 10 that some countries like China are already doing it. So when you think of like freedom and countries that are free, I don't think of China first. So a lot of people think it's un-American. It would definitely compromise our freedom if we were forced to show, like a passport or a QR code on your phone proving that you've been vaccinated. But these might be used. Like, let's just take New York as an example. And who knows? Maybe President Biden, I don't know if he has this jurisdiction. I don't know if he has the ability to do this, but to make it a federal law that would prohibit passport, uh, vaccine passports. I don't know if he could do that, but he has already come out and said that he's against it, like I said. But if you want to go to a theater, say in New York, you want to go to a Broadway show, or you want to go to a Yankees game where there are going to be a lot of people in tight spaces, the only way for you to get in with your ticket, of course, would be to show a passport. Like, hey, scan this. And then, of course, I'm sure there'll be a whole bunch of people trying to sell them online and stuff like that. So that's part of the problem. Yeah, needless to say, it is controversial. Not everybody agrees. If we were in class today, I might just ask, hey, show of hands, who believes in the vaccine passport, who doesn't? It would be nice, put in the chat if you are a fan or not of the vaccine passport. Of course, I think you would have to say, well, it would definitely keep people safer. But then I think the downside is, well, it could lead to corruption. It could lead to a black market of selling these things, and it could also restrict people's freedom. So the next thing is they're going to talk about in my notes. I wrote it in red. I'm looking at my notes here, and I wrote this in red because there's a ketchup package shortage. Ketchup package shortage. And when I heard this first, I'm like, oh, that makes total sense, because if you have a big bottle of ketchup at a restaurant, like, COVID, not good. So those little packets, I mean, you can just individually have your own ketchup, and it would be a little safer, for the spread of the virus. But because so many restaurants are using them, so many people are getting takeout instead of dining in. There is a shortage of ketchup packets. And apparently, I can't remember the ketchup company. I think it was Heinz. Yeah, probably Heinz. They said that they will be making 12 billion packets this year. CNN10 said it could go to the moon and almost back if you laid those ketchup packets end to end. The next one, man, if we were in class again, I was like, hey, who likes roller coasters? Who loves to ride on roller coasters? Who is scared? Who has a fear of roller coasters? because the last story on CNN10 is going to talk about this new Six Flags opening in the next couple of years in the country of Saudi Arabia. We've very briefly talked about Saudi Arabia when we talked about Yemen, if you remember that. In Qatar, we've talked about. So Saudi Arabia will be getting a theme park, and it is supposed to have, what's it called? Falcon Flight is the name of the roller coaster in English. Probably something different in Arabic, where they speak Arabic in Saudi Arabia. But it's going to go like 150 miles an hour. There are pictures on CNN10 to show you it's not done yet, but it'll be in this like desert landscape. They have like a computer animation of it, which looks pretty cool. And then the country we're going to talk about today with Geography Now is Cambodia. Oh man. I do have the map. I got to get this ready actually. I do have a map of no, I don't. Hang on. I think I can get it here. A map of Cambodia, and I will share it. I always like doing that, and I did have it up, and then last second I said just record this. It might make it easier for everyone. So I just want to show you where in the world Cambodia is in case you don't know. It's not going to be hard for me to do this now. So think Vietnam, think Laos. Yeah, there we go. So Cambodia, right here, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos. So be thinking of those countries. And down there you have Malaysia. But Cambodia, and I hope I pronounced this correctly. In Geography Now, they pronounce it correctly, but I think it's Phnom Penh. Phnom Penh, I believe. Phnom Penh is the capital of Cambodia. And one of the most famous sites, and it's actually right on the Cambodian flag too, is this place right here called Angkor Wat. Come on, man. Come on. Angkor Wat. And that's not a great picture of it. But it's just we will do more work on this on Monday, but it's an absolutely just like beautiful temple. There are some YouTube videos where people have gone there at like sunrise. We will watch a couple of those. Just looks like an absolutely beautiful place. But in Geography Now, the host, Paul, will talk about how, unfortunately, the people of Cambodia do not make a lot a day. I think he said the average wage per day in Cambodia is like $2. And he'll go over some very interesting things that like you can start your own business with just selling gasoline out of soda bottles, even though he calls them pop bottles because he's from the Midwest. So Cambodia, it looks like an absolutely beautiful country, but unfortunately, a lot of the Cambodians are rather poor. He'll also talk about how they're actually not Cambodians. You would technically call them Kumai. Kumai. And I can't write anything on the screen, but it's actually Kumer. Kumai. Unfortunately, landmines. Big thing in Cambodia. I think the third most per capita of any place in the world. So, Cambodia might be a little bit smaller, but compared to their area, they have the third most per capita. So other places may have more or whatever, but because they take into like per capita it's basically the amount of people they have in their country per capita. So third most landmines in Cambodia per capita. We talked about let me talk really quickly that don't want to go into it too much. And Geography Now, doesn't go into it at all. I saw a chapter at the bottom where they were going to talk about this person Pol Pot, but they never really do. So in the 1970s, communism was kind of taking over in this part of the world, like a lot. Like if you look at the map here, the U.S. was actually involved. They were actually involved in Cambodia too, which they Shouldn't have been. It was like super hush hush quiet. But there was a war, against Vietnam, and some of it did spill over into Laos and Cambodia. But in the 1970s, communism was taking over in this part of the world, and a leader in Cambodia named Pol Pot came into power. And what he did, like a lot of leaders who are just so obsessed with power, is he like started killing people or creating these armies that would kill people. And so it's estimated that about 2.5 million people in Cambodia were killed about from 1975 to 1979. If you ever hear the term killing fields, think Cambodia, think 1970s. It was just a genocide. It was just the Communist Party were basically killing people they suspected were not fully on board with communism. So just a horrible period of time in Cambodia, 1970s. Also, the flag, they'll show you the flag. This is running a little long, so I don't think I can get the flag up really quickly here. But the Cambodian flag, I'm going to try, actually has a picture of Angkor Wat on it. That like beautiful temple. Can I share it? Am I sharing this? Can I share it? Yeah, I can. So there's a bunch of them, but that's the flag right there. So you can see it's blue, red, and in the middle is the temple of Angkor Wat. All right, I think that is it for today. It's like 12 minutes. So 12 minutes of this, 10 minutes of CNN10, about 12 minutes of Geography Now, and then that's our class. That's our class. That's like, the 30-minute class or so. All right, I am in the chat. If you need any help with anything, let me know. No questions today. Last day of the third quarter.